Hi again, everybody. I'm Trish Triumpho Sullivan, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about buying a used camera and what you should look for in a used camera. However, before I do, I wanted to show you my camera that I used mostly for my professional work when I'm doing, say, photo shoots like portraits or, say, shooting a wedding, whatever, right? Commercial work. So this is my Sony. It's an A6000. And I like it because it's what they call a mirrorless. And you can kind of see the size of it, like compared to my hand here. You see how big the lens is, but also how narrow and small the body of the camera is. This is a mirrorless DSLR. So it's a digital single lens reflex, but there's no mirror on the inside, which means it's much smaller and lightweight. And the body is about the size of, say, like a point and shoot camera, right? So it's very portable. The biggest thing on here is the lens. And I like this particular model because it allows you to use lenses that allows me to use lenses that I have for my manual film camera, right? Before digital, it's just a film camera, no digital in it. And I can use these lenses with a adapter. So I have a little adapter here. You can see it's right there. And then this is my lens from one of my, one of my other cameras. So I can get the dang lens off, the lens cap off. There we go. So this is a really nice Minolta lens, and you can see here. I can use it on my Sony. And so I like this camera. This is the camera that I personally enjoy. But when we're talking about buying cameras, students always ask me, what's the best brand? Well, there is no best brand. They're all really good brands. You know, whether it's a Minolta, a Sony, a Nikon, whatever type of camera you want to get, they all work really well. So people have their personal preference. I don't really have one. I like this camera, but they're expensive. You're looking at probably around $500 to $600 for a camera like this. So you know, you have to think about cost in that respect as well. So we're going to talk just a few minutes right now about what to look for if you're buying a used camera. So there's several things that you should think about when you're looking at buying if you want to buy a used camera. One of them, it's right on the board here. So the first thing you want to do is look at the outside of the camera. So you want to examine the camera. One of the things you want to look for is, are there any dents or scratches on the body or the lens? So that usually would mean it's been dropped, and it could have been damaged at that time when it dropped. So you're looking for, get this to stand up straight, there we go. Dents or scratches. So you want to avoid a camera that has dents or scratches in it, because it probably means it's been misused at some point. You also want to take a look at the battery compartment. You want to make sure that the battery compartment doesn't have any corrosion in it. You may have seen at some time, like maybe opening up an old flashlight or something, and you open it up, and there's all this disgusting crud, kind of like, it looks rusty and bubbly and nasty looking. If you open up the battery compartment in the camera, because even a fully manual camera often has a battery in order for the light meter to work, or for the automatic features as well to work, if they do have some automatic features on them. So you want to make sure that you're looking in the battery compartment and making sure there's no corrosion, no gunk, no like rusty looking stuff, nothing like that. So no corrosion. All right, you don't want to see that. Also, I recommend that you take the camera and you shake it a little bit. If something's rattling around inside, that's a bad sign. So I would say make sure there's no noise, no rattling, like no loud rattling noises. Right, so no rattles, nothing's shaking around loose inside there. You also want to check for possible water damage. This is the main reason people get rid of cameras when they're used, is they've dropped them somewhere that you probably don't want to know about, right? A little TMI. And they drop their camera in the toilet or something. And you can tell, you can tell that there could be water damage if you see some condensation on the inside of the glass of the lens. And you're looking at the camera lens, and you see some moisture or condensation, this like even a drop of water on the inside. Ooh, no, 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 right? Tell them no. So no water damage. Right, so you look for that condensation on the inside of the glass, all right? You also want to make sure that the glass in the lens doesn't have any cracks or chips, right? So no cracks or chips. And this is one reason I recommend that if you're going to buy a used camera, make sure you buy it in person. Someone who's really selling a legit camera that works, right, is going to allow you to test it out, right? They're going to allow you to try it. If it's a film camera, it's harder to try because you'd have to actually shoot a roll of film and develop it. But if it's someone local, they might allow you to do that. They might allow you to take a few photos, go develop it, see if everything works fine. Or even take it into Green's camera and have them take a look at it for you and see if it seems like it's a good deal. I mean, if someone's selling you a camera for like $5 or $10, like an old film camera, you don't have a lot to lose, right? If it's not like a total workable camera, maybe you at least have the lens from it and you can buy a body somewhere else. Another possibility for used cameras, of course, is going to a camera store. We have a couple of them in the area. There's Green's Camera in Salinas and Myricks in Monterey. And I'm sure I think there's another one in Gilroy as well. So there's some camera stores around that you can check out and see if there's a used camera there. Now, if you buy from a camera store, they usually have a guarantee on it. It's different than buying from, say, a private person who's probably not going to put a major guarantee, but the camera store will because they've had it checked out. They've had their experts look over it. A little safer maybe to do that, but you're usually looking at spending kind of a minimum of $150 for a single lens reflex used at a camera store, and probably even more than that because they're gaining in popularity, believe it or not. People are enjoying doing film and they're kind of rediscovering it, so to speak. So I highly recommend that you take some time and think about what kind of camera you want. Of course, you can buy a new camera. You can borrow a camera for the class. But if you're looking for a used camera, and this is good to know anyway, because you never know if you're going to a yard sale or a thrift store, they have a camera sitting around and it's really cheap, it might be worth it, $5 or $10. Well, you've like lost the amount of a cup of coffee or maybe a lunch. So you're not out a lot of money. So when you're looking for a used camera, always check for dents and scratches. Make sure there's nothing that looks like it's been abused, right? Dropped or messed up. Check the battery compartment for corrosion. Make sure there's no gross stuff in the battery compartment. Shake it a little bit and make sure there's no rattling. That usually means that something's loose or wrong inside. Make sure there's no water damage. Check to look and see there's no condensation in any of the compartments. But especially behind the lens, because that usually means the camera's been dropped in water. And make sure there's no cracks or chips on the lens itself. Okay, so no cracks or chips, because that's going to show up in every single photograph that you take. If there's one little teeny chip or dent or ding on the glass of the lens, it's going to show in every photo, so you're going to be disappointed with that. So those are the things you look for, and just remember, think about getting the camera that's going to be right for you. A professional photographer might want to invest in a camera that costs like $500, or a expensive one. But if you're just taking the class for fun or for credit, and you just want to learn how to work your camera that you already have, or you want to have something that you could be portable for you, you might consider getting a digital point and shoot, like a compact digital camera or a crossover camera. So thank you very much, folks. We will see you in class.